All right, you're still on to Break It On Papers Review here on 32 FM 94.9. My name is GBOLABO, famous school. It's really great to have you join us on the paper review this morning. We'll be taking a look at some of the national dailies here in Nigeria. I'm starting off with the Punch newspaper this morning. Quite a number of headlines. And the big story here says, crashed helicopter. Nama enlists Cameroon orders over missing bodies, victims unveiled. More headlines here out of the Punch newspaper. We also have banditry allegation and how Matawale survived cabinet reshuffle. More headlines here also says Lookman favorite for 2024 CAF Player of the Year. Federal government plans 50% tax relief to help firms increase salaries. More headline here says Ogun teacher in trouble as people dies after 162 frog jumps, and it says Ogun teacher in trouble as people dies after 162 frog jumps. Lagos cleric remanded over alleged rape. More headlines here still on the Punch newspaper front page. We have this one: Nigerians turn beggars as biting hunger ravages communities. Spin doctors, entertainers who have perfected art of marketing. And marketers imported 42 million liters petrol set to arrive. Losing 2015 election, thought moment in my life, and that's according to Jonathan. Still here on the front page of the Punch newspaper. And we also have this one coming from the Metro Plus page of the paper. Ondo laborer remanded for killing wife. And here man stabs 65-year-old aunt to death. And we still have a little bit more from the political side of the paper. Lagos, this is local government poll, respect laws. APC tells Kano governor. Kano local government poll, police to comply with court order. That's according to spokesperson of the police. Ekiti government, monarchs unite to tackle soaring food crisis. And that's the much we can take with the Punch newspaper this morning. Let's also take a look at the cable and also pick some headlines out of the cable NG this morning. Here on the cable, this is a bit of 50 news. Tinubu Atiku meet at Abuja National Mosque, first time since October 2022. IMF applauds Nigeria's economic reforms, says they will unlock investment growth. Court invites DSS DG over contempt in Nnamdi Kano's case. And more here says IMF to federal government channel subsidy removal savings to support vulnerable households. And more headlines. Godosa, federal government considering U.S. diaspora bond targets $1 billion monthly remittances. Kogi secures approval to build international airport in Zariage. And Johesu declares 7-day strike over federal government's failure to address welfare issues. Court orders Kano Electric Commission to conduct local government polls. No funding request from Nigeria. IMF speaks on speculations. Let's take some headlines still here on the cable. We also have a bit more of business news. Pencom, we are building a system that secures workers' future, protects retirees' legacy. And IMF applauds Nigeria's economic reform, says they will unlock investment growth. And that's in some national dailies here in Nigeria. We'll take this one as the last one coming from the cable. And this says Umar Bago approves 80,000 naira minimum wage for Niger State civil servant. All right, we'll look at more papers. We'll look at the Premium Times and also pick some headlines out of the Premium Times this morning. Before we get on to Premium Times, all right, let's take a look at The Guardian. We have a couple of headlines here on The Guardian as well. Cloudy fear of implementation as rollout of new basic education curriculum underway. And women have the capacity to overcome every challenge. Why are they scared of EFCC? And that's a question mark with a picture of Olukayode here. And Nigerians are in a haste to reap from Tinubu's economic reforms, coming from Professor Adini Gimba. Afrobeat's new rising voice of unity. That's a bit of entertainment there. African governments must do more on policy sustainability, coming from ex-president Obasanjo. Shehu Diko's appointment, our fears, our expectations, stakeholders speak. NLC Nupeng, Pengassan, Mon oil workers killed in helicopter crash. Worries as bread bakers substitute sugar with saccharin. And more headlines as rescue Ghanaian at Bukola, other medical doctors now. 7 years on government policy on tomato, still in limbo. Reforms World Bank IMF face backlash amid rising inflation petrol cost. Igboho denies allegation of fraud, warrant of arrest. And still here on The Guardian, Duke custom CG orders happen economic diversification for national development. Tinubu's new ministerial appointments breach federal character principles, says Ozekome. Best way to honor Nwosu is to conduct credible elections, and coming from President Tinubu there. All right, before we leave The Guardian, we'll take this one as well. Ikeja-Igbure link bridge to be completed in November, coming from Dakpo Abiodun there. And all of that are some of the headlines out of The Guardian this morning. A bit of Premium Times. We also have headlines there out of the Premium Times this morning. And we have this one here. It says, explainer, is House of Rep Speaker equal to Senate President? And with a question mark there. Court, summons threatens to jail SSS DG over Nnamdi Kanu. This has updated with reduced killings out of school children in Kaduna. Governor Sani. No request for IMF funding support from Nigeria's government. And that's according to official report. CAF set for verdict on botched Libya-Nigeria AFCON qualifier. Arranged Nigerian home gets only 7 hours electricity daily. That's coming from the NBS. It said average Nigerian home gets only 7 hours electricity daily. That's National Bureau of Statistics. 30% of Lagos residents living with hypertension, coming from the Commissioner of Health. Tinubu Atiku meet in Abuja. Helicopter crash. Nigeria will still searching for missing bodies wreckage. Festus Keyamo, Minister of Aviation, giving the update. Group to empower underprivileged Nigerian children. And we have this one from the sporting arena, CAF. And it says Motsepe to stand for re-election in 2025. And this says Binance executive Gambarayan returns home after 8 months in detention in Nigeria. And this is a bit of sport. Super Falcons, Madugu set to begin tenor with friendlies against Algeria. And before we leave the Premium Times, more latest news. NAFDAC workers suspend strike for 1 month. Health agency boss urges Kwara government to bridge infrastructure, human resource gaps in health sector. All of that are some of the headlines out here from the Premium Times. All right, before we have Austin join us virtually to look at some of the headlines hitting the front pages of some of the national dailies here in Nigeria, we also look at the Daily Trust and also pick some headlines out of here. Bearing how our givers, all right, here is the Daily Trust. It says the bearing are givers starting to lack as the economy bites harder, and there's another question mark. Despite several contract awards, Jos Saminaka Road remains deplorable. How traders' invasion obstructs learning at 84-year-old school. Despite several contract awards, right, we've taken that earlier. How traders' invasion obstruct learning at 84-year-old school. And I don't own a house in Abuja. Mohammed Abba Ghana, former FCT minister, speaking there. And still here on the front page of the Daily Trust, we have other headlines. And this says Nigeria Daily, with Tinubu cabinet shake-up, bring the Suko Nigerians yearn for. Another question mark, and that sounds more like a feature. IMF denies asking Tinubu to remove fuel subsidy. Kano to go ahead with local government poll today. No football match is worth anyone's life. Reps panel uncovers alleged 32 billion naira revenue leakages at NUPRC. All right, let's take a look at The Nation. Also pick some headlines here out of The Nation. So right, I have Vanguard here. We'll go back to The Nation newspaper, quickly looking at the Vanguard. And here on the Vanguard, we have World Bank. That's the big story here. World Bank to Nigeria. NYSC, your gold mine Okay, and more headline says why Nigeria will continue to import petrol. Investigation gives that reason. Sins of sacked ministers, and this also says what bank to Nigeria NYC your gold mine. All right, Igbo easily subdued at home these days. Policy somersault hinder agri growth orders in Africa. That's according to Obasanjo. 8.6 million Lagos residents hypertensive, and this also says 3.5 million suffering obesity, and that's coming from the Lagos state government. And a bit of entertainment, Angela Okorie mocks Halima Abubakar for apologizing to Apostle Sulaiman. Ending security now, police defense minister begs military. And this also says breaking Israel strikes targets in Iran. More headlines. I'm passionate about creating children's content coming from RM, and a bit of lifestyle there. And we also have more headlines here. Kano imposes movement restrictions ahead of local government polls. Again, court sacks all NNPP candidates to Kano local government polls. And Falana writes FHC, Federal Housing Estate CJ. Alright, this says Falana writes Federal High Court CJ demands reassignment of Rivers Assembly case to Port Harcourt. Court reserves judgment in pro-Wike lawmakers suit seeking to stop Rivers funds. And we have more headlines here. Canada to reduce immigration by 21% in 2025. Naira depreciates to 1,739 Naira per dollar and parallel market. All of that are some of the headlines there out of the Vanguard. All right, we'll take a look at the nation quickly, and we have Austin join us for the analysis proper. All right, on the nation this morning, quite a number of headlines here too on the Nation newspaper. Okay, and the big headline here says, at death's door, deadly Udimenu local concussion putting lives of Nigerians at risk. Police, will collaborate with CJTF to tackle insecurity coming from the CP. Cancer control, federal government welcomes. This says IAEA, WHO, IARC, countryside assessment. More headlines here also says Bello versus EFCC, ABC Group 6 Tinubu's intervention. Military confirms soldiers killing by colleague in Katsina. Benue withdraws Supreme Court case against EFCC, ICPC. A bit of entertainment. Bring Jota Zenwa orders to receive MMS Life Impact Awards. Tourism, arts, culture, entertainment, interwoven. Mr. Latin, that's also some entertainment and a bit of politics here. It says we will no longer tolerate attacks on VK. PDP group wants for Bara Ugochinyere. An appointment of Bianca Ojukwu as minister in order, says Ono hits Anambra APC. APC will take over Rivers, Ganduje declares. Student leader congratulates Tunji Ojo for surviving cabinet reshuffle. All right, National Sports Festival. Governor Abiodun promises state-of-the-art facilities. All of that are some of the headlines there out of the Nation newspaper. We do have Austin Ejumu to join us now to look at some of the striking headlines there out of the national dailies in Nigeria. Good morning, Austin.
Good morning, GBOLABO, and thank you for having me this morning.
It's really great to have you back to do this analysis with us. All right, let's start off with this GBOLABO, and they've been talking about commerce cohorts, some of the salary structures for medical workers and also for medical doctors, that this has been there since when Jonathan was the president. That's several years back, even before Buhari came on board. And interestingly, their demands have not yet been met. And these protests, these strikes have been inherited by this present administration. Why is it that the government of the day does not see health as a major emergency sector? They need to pay more attention to looking at even the attitude of previous governments as well.
Yes, I think it's becoming worrisome that we have critical agencies in Nigeria threatening to go on strike, not as a result of the fact that the service providers are not doing well, But as a result of constant failure on the part of the government, it has become so notorious that our government will willingly, not at gunpoint, enter into negotiation with some set of workers, and at the end of the day, agreement will be made. They will renege on those agreements. From that agreement, there will be a memorandum of understanding. I think at some point about 6 years ago, we heard about a memorandum of action from MOU to MOA. But the reverse has always been the case. Some of these issues are critical issues that need to be attended to. Look at the 2009 agreement with ASU, for example. 2009, under the late President Umaru Musa Yar'Adua. We still talk about that agreement today. The agreement has been renegotiated by successive administration, I think, about 3 or 4 times. Now, last week or early this week, I heard that the government has even constituted another panel to renegotiate that particular agreement again. When you enter into an agreement, it is not compulsory that you have to pull all the funds together at a go. But what you need to do is sincere commitment. This union have not seen sincere commitment on the part of government. When I mean government, I'm not just talking about this government. It has been. But this government must make efforts to kickstart what we call a paradigm shift. You may not be able to meet the need at a go, but there must be conscious efforts being made to address some of these fundamental issues. After all, some of these issues are not just the issue of welfare alone. They also talk about the issue of an enabling environment. And you see what lack of enabling environment has done to us as a country, especially in the health sector. So the issue of GBOLABO, Joint Health Sector Union, I think association, the government must take it seriously. We can't continue to have a situation where the government will continue to fail to address some critical issues. So a 15-day ultimatum has been issued to the government. Let's see how it goes. And another thing, our government is also very inefficient in terms of addressing some of these issues. When ultimatum is issued, government will not swing into action. Some of these agencies or union must have been warning. They will give ultimatum. It is a day to the expiration of the ultimatum that government will engage them. They will start doing meeting overnight. And at the end of the day, the union will go on strike and they will be blackmailed to call off the strike. Afterwards, we will just work in a cycle and go back to square one. So let the government come out very clearly. Some of this agreement, I think the issue of GBOLABO now is about the salary structure and the 25% of their salary areas from June to December 2023. Does it mean that the government cannot meet this need? Even if you don't have money to meet this need, how genuine are you? Have you been able to engage them at their top level? Have you been able to put on the table what you can offer? Because this idea of reneging in an agreement is a bad omen. It does not portray our government as a sincere government. And like I said, if I say government, I mean government. I'm not just talking about this administration alone, because some of these issues have always been there. But a present government must be able to deploy strategy and means to tackle it in a more friendly and in an amicable manner, in such a way that it will foster industrial cohesion and harmony in the country. So 15-day ultimatum has been given. I expect that the federal government, through the Ministry of Health, will swing into action and address all the associated issues that could warrant a strike at this time. People are dying. We are not, health sector workers are not on strike. People are dying. What if they now shut down the system? The government must not allow a shutdown of critical sector of the economy. So whatever that needs to be done must be done as a matter of priority and urgently too.
All right, Austin, let's also look at the DSS and the court itself now. It appears that the DSS is not having a soft landing with the court. The court invites the DSS DG, that's the Director General of the DSS, Department of State Security, over contempt in Nnamdi Kanu's case. Now, the crux of the matter is that there is a court order that says Nnamdi Kanu should have access to his lawyers, the legal applicants, for like 3 times in a week, and it appears that none of these have been complied with. Now the court is saying that this is a breach of the order of the court. Now talking about contempt. Now if we look at even the criminal justice system in Nigeria, doesn't an accused get some kind of conviction treatment in Nigeria? The case has not been decided. There've been media trial of some of these criminal cases. And you also have someone who is being prosecuted for crime not yet declared by the court that this person is a convict. Already from what we're seeing from the agencies that are supposed to implement the law, they put the suspect in the eye of the public like a criminal already. Would we say that is the case in that of Nnamdi Kanu, or this is a special case and that's why the DSS has to go that route?
Well, sorry to take you back. One of the agitation of GBOLABO is the payment of COVID-19 hazard allowance. I just want to bring that to your attention.
Okay.
Payment of COVID-19 hazard allowance. Is that not ridiculous? COVID-19 hazard allowance. The government has not been able to pay them. So why would they go on strike? That is on one hand. On the issue of Nnamdi Kanu, I think it's becoming very scandalous. And I feel so strongly that examples are to read. We talked about this issue last week. Court have always threatened. There is no head of agency, especially security agency, that court has not threatened to arrest in Nigeria. But we need to make example of them. We can't continue to have a situation where DSS, especially in the case of Nnamdi Kanu, what is the issue with DSS in the case of Nnamdi Kanu? Is it the only person that has had such a kind of issue before? This is issue that is undergoing trial. The man is not running away. The man has pleaded that he should be taken to a normal correctional facility. The DSS refused for reasons best known to them. Court has given several orders that he be allowed access for his personal hygiene, he be allowed access to his lawyer and to some key family member, especially members of his immediate family. And repeatedly, DSS has disregarded this order. So for me, I am particularly tired of hearing the court saying that they will exercise their power in making sure that those who breach the act of court, which is popularly referred to as contempt, be brought to justice.
All right, Austin, just to add this to the question, should Buhari be brought into the picture here? Because we do remember the last time when Buhari was there and he had this press interview and they asked him about Nnamdi Kanu's feet, and he's saying, someone who is trying to topple my government, I would never allow him out. And now if you look at that particular intelligence, we don't know if he has an intel. Should the court also invite the ex-president to explain, because this started from the Buhari administration itself? Does he have some kind of intel that he fears would affect the democracy of Nigeria? Shouldn't the ex-president be considered here to beyond the DSS DG?
GBOLABO, there's nothing on this matter that has to do with former President Muhammadu Buhari. My blame for former President Muhammadu Buhari was that he refused to deploy political solution to Nnamdi Kanu's matter. When he was asked, he said the case is already on trial, let the law take its full course. He has right to that. But under him too, we have also seen somebody who was involved in financial corruption that was discharged. The office of the Attorney General of the Federation had to dismiss charges against that individual for political reason. So some people are creating the impression that the case of Nnamdi Kanu, since is already under trial, we must deploy a judicial solution to it alone. No. If we have come to realization of the fact that, based largely in time, Nnamdi Kanu has felt a sign of remorse. There was a time he had to sign a letter to IPOB to distance himself from the sit at home. The last interview he granted, it shows that Nnamdi Kanu is looking like a changed person than we have known before. So on this issue of whether you want to topple, Buhari said he want to topple his administration. Is that why the DSS will not allow him to have his bait? Is that why DSS will not allow him to eat the food he wants to eat? Is that the reason why DSS will not allow him to his lawyer? Is that the reason why DSS will not allow him to his family member? Because he want to topple the government? And what evidence do you have that you want to topple the government? How can somebody topple the government in an underground cell of the DSS? This is the matter that we are talking about. Buhari may have mismanaged the case. That is why I'm also appealing to this government. Look at the merit of Nnamdi Kanu's case. I don't think it is entirely impossible to deploy political solution to the case of Nnamdi Kanu. We can actually toe that line. After all, there are people who have been involved in corruption cases. We are making it, the government is creating the impression as if Nnamdi Kanu's situation is the worst that we have had in the history of Nigeria. He had these excesses. He has been granted before. He had to jump, but he said it was the Nigerian military because they bombarded this area. That was why the pressure was on him to escape out of the country. Look at the last time that Sowore was granted bail. He was not allowed to leave Abuja, and he complied. He didn't leave. We can call some leaders from the southeast. Let there be undertaking. Let Nnamdi Kanu even sign an undertaking. Restrict him to the confines of the country. You can even take his international passport from him. And from what I said earlier, the Nnamdi Kanu I listened to his interview recently has proven, based on my own assessment, that this person has changed. Above it all, even if you are keeping him in detention, you must allow him to some basic thing. Principal amongst some is access to his counsel, his legal counsel. I told you on this program last week that even as a criminal, if you're undergoing trial and you cannot afford counsel, you cannot afford a lawyer, it is the duty of the state to hire a lawyer for you, because the law recognizes that you must be given a fair hearing. How can you be given a fair hearing in a court of law except your lawyer decide to stand for you? So what DSS is doing is an act of recklessness. It's an act of lawlessness that need to be checked. So I pray that the court someday in the nearest future, they will make example of some of these heads of agency that orders will be given, they will flout this order. And I also call on the president to look at the issue of Nnamdi Kanu very critically. What can be done? Is it if he has gone to court and at the end of the day, if he wins the case, won't they release him eventually? If the Supreme Court decide to decide and acquit him, why not to the path of peace by maybe, let's even release him politically and grant him conditional release? For example, let it come with every condition that must be met, and some people have to stand shorty for him before he can be released. Let us even put the issue of releasing him on political ground. Let us even put it aside. Now that he's in custody, he should be allowed access to his family members. He should be allowed access to his lawyer. When a man is in detention and you cut access from his lawyer, it's just like you are depriving him of oxygen to breathe, because he needs his lawyer even more than any other person. So the government should look at that. We can't continue to repeat this issue every now and then. People that are supposed to keep the law, people that are supposed to enforce the law, they are now disregarding the law. Yeah, we hear the court will say, they are going to jail the IGP. We are going to jail we are going to jail head of government agency. Let us make example. That is my point.
Well, Austin, IMF applauds Nigeria's economic reform, says they will unlock investment growth. Then a particular statement said the government of Nigeria has taken steps which will represent a more effective use of public resources aimed at unlocking the economic's vast potential to become more dynamic, attract investment and drive growth. Now, is the IMF seeing what we are not seeing? Because I'm wondering, which government are they talking about? Is it Nigeria government? Now, would we say that the IMF is seeing into the future for Nigeria here?
I don't think we need IMF to project our future. If we want to look at our economic outlook, for example, I don't think we need IMF to do some of the things that we have allowed them to dictate to us. Since we have started listening to IMF, how many economic prosperity have we recorded in Nigeria? We have succeeded over the years in driving people to poverty than bringing people out of poverty line. Since the time of structural adjustment program, around 1988, for example, our economy has continued to decline on a reverse gear. So how many of these IMF policy guidelines and advisory has benefited the common man in Nigeria? Like they used to say that politics is local. We should develop homegrown economic solution to our socio-economic problem. That is what we should look at. Nobody is saying that you should not relate with international organizations like the IMF, the World Bank, or what have you. But at what cost? Relating with them at the detriment of your own economy, relating with them at the detriment of your own citizen by bringing up obnoxious economic policy. Of course, some of this economic policy might yield result at the long run. But it's just like, 𝐃𝐈𝐒, you are telling me that my tomorrow will be okay, and my today is very risky. Is it not when I live till tomorrow that I will benefit from tomorrow? That is the point we are making. Some people will tell us that, oh, there is light at the end of the tunnel. Why must there be light at the end of the tunnel? It takes a whole lot to get to the end of the tunnel. And it is not everybody that will get to the end of the tunnel. People are living in abject poverty. People can no longer feed. There is increased crime rate. Things are getting so bad for our people. And we talk about economic policy orchestrated or advised by the IMF. Some of these economic policies are good at the long run, but all of them are coming at a time that we do not even have the economic shocks as over to absorb some of these things. You remove subsidy on petroleum products, you remove subsidy on electricity, a lot of subsidy, a lot of taxes. These are the things that we are talking about. The subsidy removal, I as a person, I believe that subsidy should go, because at some point it was no longer sustainable. But you must weigh the option, look at it in such a way. We remove subsidy at a time we are also floating the currency, at a time that the exchange rate is going up. As of today, is exchanging for around 1,700 or so. Why can't we, if we are removing subsidy, for example, why can't we deploy strong monetary policy as far as our forest is concerned to minimize the rate? For example, 𝐃𝐈𝐒, this morning as I speak to you, if the government is able to peg the exchange rates naira to dollar for like 800 or even 1,000, things will get better. That is what we are talking about. Most of these problems that we find as economically Nigerian today is as a result of our weak currency. And I've never seen any government in the world who has folded his hand to allow his currency to continue to tumble and somersault the way we now do in Nigeria. It does not make sense any longer. It does not make sense. I believe in elimination of multiple exchange rates. I believe in uniformity of the exchange rate. But once in a while, you intervene. Once you intervene, that will stabilize the system. That will eliminate speculation, those that are buying for speculation and what have you. That's the point we are making. Personally, I don't believe that even if there's going to be special rates should be for critical sector of the economy. Those who are importing raw material for their production company to create jobs and directly add to the GDP of the country. These are where our effort and priority should be. The other time I read that we are now giving subsidy to for people that are going on pilgrimage. Does that make any sense? What is the economic value of somebody that is going to Jerusalem to pray? Is it compulsory? Can't you pray in your house? These are areas that we are talking about. So the government, most importantly, should work on our currency. I believe that this economic policy, one way or the other, will yield result at the long run. But the associated pain is becoming unbearable for our people. That is what the government must do to cushion the effect. Transportation, I keep saying this, any country that does not have a robust transportation, its people will continue to suffer. The government must work on transportation, because transportation is one of the areas that takes money away from the common man, especially the workers, especially the fixed income earners in the country. Government must do something about it.
All right, Rustin, I want us to touch on this before quickly going on this break. Cardoso, federal government considering U.S. diaspora bond targets $1 billion monthly remittances. Now, the diaspora investment itself, we're looking at accountability here. In the long run, are we seeing that diasporans have not been remitting, or they've not been accountability, like what we had ex-president Obasanjo talked about yesterday, saying that the monies he even left as part of the excess crude proceed that he left while he was not in office had all been siphoned, according to him, allegedly. Now, from what the federal government is trying to do again, are we saying that as we have a time immemorial that people in the diaspora have not been remitting to the government, not just this present administration? Have there been accountability? Now, what Cardoso is saying, that this will attract more investment from Nigerians in diaspora and people who want to invest in Nigeria. Is there even accountability for what we have before, or this is just policy somersault over and over again?
It will definitely show up our forest earning, no doubt about that. We can do better than what we are doing now in terms of inflow of diaspora remittances. But what I expect the CBN to do is to stabilize the naira. What is the difference between May 2024 and now? May 2024, the dollar was exchanging for $1,030 naira, after it had gone to about 1,600 naira. What did Cardoso do that time? That is what we are asking him. What did he do that time? May 2024, according to global statistics, naira became the best performing currency all over the world. Naira performed optimally against all major currencies of the world at that time. So what has happened?
All right, Austin, I want you to hold your thoughts right about now. We'll be back with that shortly after this break. We'll have more on that.
Feel better about your life.
32 FM, 94.9, the antidote to depression.
Hey, here's a question for you. What gets you out of bed in the morning? Is it the sunrise? The sound of your alarm? No, it's that dream, that drive, that unstoppable force inside you. And you know what fuels that drive? It's starting your day strong with the rich, creamy taste of Nescafe Original 3-in-1, carefully crafted from selected coffee beans. So, whatever your hustle, go from maybe or I can't to I can and I will. Nescafe Original 3-in-1. Start strong, finish strong.
Dear landed property owner, what if I told you that you could reach out to a radio station to sell your choice of landed properties without paying for adverts? Huh? You must think it's impossible, right? And not just any radio station, a radio station with millions of listeners, so your property can be sold as quickly as possible. Stop doubting, Thomas. Or what's your name again? 32 FM, the laughter station, in partnership with Soft Sands Property, is bringing this offer to you. Yes, if you have a house or land in a choice location with appropriate titles and you want it advertised in 32 FM 94.9 Ibadan, for quick sales and without paying a cobble, you can call or send a message to this number 091-646-15000 and 091-555-0055. Also, you can visit www.softsandsproperty.com to express your interest. Terms and conditions apply. Soft Sands, created to house the world.
Oṣù mẹ́fà ẹ bá mi dúpẹ́. Oṣù mẹ́fà ẹ bá mi dúpẹ́. Ó ti yá oṣù mẹ́fà nìyẹn. Ọmọ ò máa ń pẹ́ dàgbà o. Báyìí o, ọmọ rẹ ti wá nílò ju omi ọyàn nìkan lọ o. Àkókò ti tó láti máa fún un ní oúnjẹ fífọ́. Ní àfikún sí ọyàn, rí i dájú pé àwọn oúnjẹ ọmọ rẹ ní ó kéré tán ọ̀kan lára àwọn oúnjẹ àfọ́pọ̀ márùn-ún wọ̀nyí. Ẹyin, ẹja tàbí ẹran, èso àti ewébẹ̀, epo tàbí òróró, ẹ̀wà, ẹ̀pà tàbí sóyà, ìrẹsì, ọ̀dùnkún, àgbàdo tàbí iṣu. Ọmọ rẹ bẹ̀rẹ̀ láti oṣù mẹ́fà nílò omi ọyàn àtàwọn oúnjẹ wọ̀nyí fún ìdàgbàsókè àti ìlera. Máa fún wọn lọ́yàn títí yóò fi pé ọmọ ọdún 2 àti jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ.
Ìkéde yìí wá láti àkànṣe iṣẹ́ INT'L, iléeṣẹ́ tó ń mójútó ètò ìlera ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́.
I'm in love. Sonia tomato mix, stand up. Easy to open, easy to squeeze, easy to scoop and easy to store.
Sonia tomato mix in a new stand-up pouch.
Tí wọ́n bá bi ọ́ léèrè pé kí o dárúkọ eré ìdíje géèmù mánigbàgbé tó dángájíá, bẹ̀tánù ni ìdáhùn rẹ̀ lọ́jọ́kọ́jọ́. Ó yá tara ṣàṣà kí ìwọ náà bá wọn jẹ àǹfààní nínú géèmù alárinrin tó fanimọ́ra ní ìpele pẹ̀lú ẹgbẹ̀rún lọ́nà igba 200,000 owó ìkíni káàbọ̀ àti àwọn ẹ̀bùn mìíràn bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. Bẹ̀tánù ayò ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ báyìí. Forí pípẹ́ tayò yìí o. Ó bẹ̀rẹ̀ látòrí ọmọ ọdún 18 lọ sókè. Alájọṣepọ̀ ẹgbẹ́ Aston Villa ni wá.
Is it okay to make fun of our tooth gap? Let's have a talk. Colgate makes your teeth so strong. Stop cover your mouth. Not to do yanga with your smile. Brush your teeth with Colgate. Zero cavities and fresh breath. If you use a Colgate paste. Not to do yanga with your smile. Brush your teeth with Colgate. Colgate, #1 oral care brand in the world.
lọ́kàn ẹni tó fẹ́ talé-talẹ̀ tàbí dúkìá míì tó ṣe pàtàkì sí. Oríṣiríṣi èrò ni ó gbọ́kàn rẹ̀ lójúnà àti rí dúkìá náà ta.
Báwo ni màá ṣe oníbàárà? Báwo ni ó ṣe pé mi? Ǹjẹ́ mo lè fọkàn tán abánitalẹ̀ yìí? Ṣé kí n tiẹ̀ polówó rẹ̀ lórí rédíò ni tàbí lórí ìtàkùn ayélujára? Níbo ni kí n ti bẹ̀rẹ̀? Ta ló lè ràn mí lọ́wọ́? Báwo ni wọn ò ṣe ní bọ́ sọ́wọ́ alágbèédá? Ṣó tiẹ̀ yẹ kí n gbé dúkìá ilé àtilẹ̀ yìí tà? Mo sì nílò owó láàrin ọjọ́ 7.
Ṣe sùúrù ọ̀rẹ́ wa, irú dúkìá wo ni wọ́n fẹ́ tà? Ilé ni àbílẹ̀ tó sì fẹ́ kó lọ ní kíá kó dòwó. Iléeṣẹ́ rédíò 32 FM pẹ̀lú àjọṣepọ̀ Soft Sand Property ti gbé àǹfààní bàǹtàbàǹtà dé. Bí o bá ní ilé àbí ilẹ̀ tó fẹ́ tà lágbègbè tó dùn wò pẹ̀lú ìwé tó jiná, máa bọ̀ wá sí 32 FM 94.9 Ìbàdàn. Ọ̀fẹ́ la bọ̀ polówó rẹ̀ tí yóò sì bàjẹ́ ní kíákíá. Ìfànlárè o, tẹ àtẹ̀ránṣẹ́ tàbí pé
091-6461-5000 àti 091-1555-0055.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ ló sì lè kàn sí www.softsandsproperty.com láti jẹ̀gbádùn àǹfààní yìí. Ìlànà àti àdéhùn wà o.
Soft Sand, òrùlé fún tẹrú tọmọ.
Good mama, it's the detergent that makes my fabric fresh. It dey foam well, it dey lift dirt, and it dey boost my confidence. Oh yeah. Good mama for every wash. Good mama detergent, mama. Good mama for everyone.
Good mama detergent. Good mama knows best.
Hey, here's a question for you. What gets you out of bed in the morning? Is it the sunrise? The sound of your alarm? No, it's that dream, that drive, that unstoppable force inside you. And you know what fuels that drive? It's starting your day strong with the rich, creamy taste of Nescafe Original 3-in-1, carefully crafted from selected coffee beans. So, whatever your hustle, go from maybe or I can't to I can and I will. Nescafe Original 3-in-1. Start strong, finish strong.
When the big names talk, they talk to us. Join GBOLABO Famous Call and her team of panelists on the podium
By 9 a.m. every Saturday for a deep dive into trending political and socio-economic issues.
32 FM 94.9.
All right, you're welcome back. It's still on to Break It Down Papers Review here on 32 FM 94.9. Austin, I would like you to complete your thought before opening the phone line. You're about now.
Yes, from time to time, the government should review the economic policy. If there are policies that are not meeting expectation, there are policies that are counterproductive. There is nothing wrong if the government decides to review, especially our forest policy. The federal government through CBN must intervene as a matter of urgency. The pump price of petroleum has a direct connection with the devaluation of the naira and our weak currency. So government need to work on some of these things.
All right. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. Happy weekend.
Same to you.
This is John Oladiwaju. I'm coming from Mando.
All right, please go ahead.
First of all, I think I'm really happy with what Austin said about Nnamdi Kanu. I don't know the offense of Nnamdi Kanu that some people have not done even worse than him. And the court has spoken. for the reluctance to let this man have his freedom. I think this is not good. And I think the government needs to listen so that they won't use the Kano issue will not cause the problem. And finally, on the issue of IMF, telling the Nigerian government that they did not owe them to remove the subsidy. Yes, I'm agree with them. Even if they advise you or if they even tell the government of any country that do this, and you do it, definitely you do it at your own peril. Because it's like you should tell somebody to put his hand into the fire, and the person puts his hand into the fire. Whose fault? Don't you have sense? So if somebody advises you, you must know how your country is. It's not that you will just be doing follow. But by and large, I don't agree with any policy of this government because it's not. You cannot tell me that there is no anywhere that they do the subsidy, whether of food or whatever. So if only the petrol that we have the subsidy is enough, I don't expect any removal of subsidy. But I'm expecting that government will fight those that in behind of eating the subsidy. That's what Nigeria is expecting.
All right.
Not that you will just bring in the policy that turns somersault the economy of the nation. Thank you and good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for that. Hello, good morning.
Top of the morning to you.
Same to you. Good morning.
Austin, top of the morning. Thank you so much. You are well said. I'm about to signing.
Okay.
With all due respect to our leaders, quite unfortunate the kind of leadership we have in this country. Some of them does not really understand the definition of management. And that is why we find ourselves in this mess of bad governance. I simply define management as how to get things done through people. Who are the people? The competent ones. Are these so-called Cardozo, the minister, the governor, the legislators? With all due respect, are they competent enough to find themselves at the very opposition they have today? That's a big question. As a matter of fact, some aren't. That's why we find ourselves in this mess of bad governance. We should not expect Mr. President alone to fix this country. That's just truth of it. Austin, thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much for that. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Ade from UI.
All right, please go ahead.
On the issue of Nnamdi Kanu, very briefly, it is not the fault of Buhari and Tinubu that they are behind this matter. It is the fault of the Igbo leader. The one Kanu is saying, I don't even like the same thing, man, like Kanu. Their injustice against Southerners and the Easterners is what Kanu is talking about. Fulani will come to this place and chase us from our land. Kanu doesn't like it. Igbo doesn't like it. If the lack of all the leaders will make peace, they are ashamed of themselves. It shows that they prefer money and protection than their own land and prosperity will just get down to the land of that news. I want to commend Government Chief of Kano for going ahead with the election today. If you look at the judgment that will be coming, APC state, court will still go ahead with the election. If the other position, the court will stop it. The same thing is in Yoruba. I'm just afraid that by the time military will take over this country, Yoruba man will not be the president at that time.
Right.
What are the best of today?
Thank you so much, Ade from UI. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, my sister.
Good morning.
My brother, I'd like you to know that one.
All right, please go ahead.
See, that's what is happening is executive lawlessness and impunity. How many times has court ruled that Kanu should be released? Though I do not like what he did, that he even ran away, but he had an excuse. You see, because he discovered that Nigeria was not safe for him. But at the same time, the Igbo leaders, what are they doing? When this issue came up, you see, the killing in their area, the governors have not been able to stand the time. People, they continue to kill soldiers, kill innocent citizens, kill police, kill security agencies. And they cannot check their children. They have those who are killing. They have families now, they have parents. Why can't the governors rally around and ensure that the peace is maintained in that, the security is maintained in that place? So I do not think that it is government that is only have to be held accountable. The Igbo leaders should be held accountable.
you so much for that. We
Hello.
also have someone calling us from New York. Hello, good morning. What's the name
Hello.
and where you calling us from? Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, my name is Mui. Yeah, I'm Mui. I'm calling from New York.
All right, please go ahead.
Can you
Mui.
hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
All right, so I want to say this. What it meant when it said that Naira was performing better among the currency of the world at that time was that Naira was stable for a while. For example, if you're changing Naira for, $1 to 1,500 Naira, it's stable. That means maybe within that time, for 3 weeks or a month, they're going to tell you your Naira is stable, you're doing a good job. No, because the value of that money is nothing to write about. So we can't praise them for nothing. So not everything the IMF is talking about you're gonna believe. Let me tell you, IMF is telling you to, and this issue of the subsidy, they pay subsidy. Why are we continuing to fool ourselves in Nigeria that they're not paying subsidy or they remove subsidy? Of course, they do not remove subsidy. They pay subsidy, so they still pay subsidy. They're just sharing the money. So I think Mr. Victor, you should explain better, sir. They pay subsidy, just sharing to themselves. That's why they will continue to import petroleum from abroad. So Naira has not performed better than any currency in the last how many years. It's just because the value of that Naira at that time to purchase the item very, very low.
All
So
right.
that's just what I have to say. Thank you. Have a lovely day.
And yourself too, Moye. All right, that's the much we can take. The lines are buzzing. And of course, I do acknowledge all the messages on Facebook. We do appreciate all those who called in and also send in their messages. We can't take more than that today. We must also say a big thank you to Austin Adumu for doing this with us. God bless Nigeria. My name is GBOLABO, 𝐶𝐈𝐒𝐂𝐋𝐀𝐈𝐒, and Baba Fendo is up next. Do stay with us.